Yeah, it's weird because sometimes these enemies, they get rare numbers. 430. These are grey right now on this guy because he's got armour, I think. It takes about 10 to 20% less damage. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to think maybe about testing it, you know. There's a way I can test this. Okay. Potentially, one thing I could do is use plague damage. Because how many enemies have plague resist? Not many. Not many. I could use plague enchant. Plague enchant could be a good one to test here. So I'll do this run first, check the numbers out, and then I'll use plague enchant as a rune, then fight the Echo Knight and see. Because then again, I'm doing a lot of damage there actually. What's that? 65 a hit, 28, 184. So I'm doing 86 there, 65. So I'm doing like 25% less damage, which I shouldn't be because I've got 30% boost to the large enemies. So physical damage is definitely impacted on big enemies. I might die here. I've got this, so this is boosting my damage a lot. I think armor resist is actually really strong. It might be a problem. Plague might be the way to go. The large is those guys as well, pretty sure. Is that not true? I believe it's the large guys and bosses. Pretty sure it is, Lubo, I'm pretty sure. I've tested it. I just wondered if they'd maybe changed it, but yeah, it does work, yeah. On the large guys. There's 75. Maybe it's hard to yeah, I need to get the rune. I'm doing 78 there now. What's this all about? I mean, it doesn't look like it matters, does it? I'm rinsing the guy, but you know, I'll go do plague and just see a bit. $65 on this guy. The plague might do more damage to enemies that have got resistance to physical damage, yeah. Even with this 15% physical boost I've got, it might still be the case. See that poise there? I just tanked all of that guy's hits and just kept hitting him. Yeah, this is really good for that. Still think the pickaxe build is broken, but this is really good for when they do patches. When they patch, stagger all the OP stuff, this will be really good. Be very, very good. Here we go. This is the big man. Because my focus bar's so low, this doesn't work as well. Oh. I have to actually try here because it's not super easy, obviously. I have to actually play the game properly a bit. He can kill me if he gets a good combo on me, basically. I hate that I'm moving this guy forward, like, screwing me over, that is. That was bad. That was really bad. Ah no, I need to use damage surge again. These claws are really, really good for this build. And this build in general is really good for somebody who just like is starting out, wants an early build. That's going to be a very good end game. And it doesn't abuse the 4 big things in the game which are broken right now. You've got rune spam, Stagger builds, which my last build abuses quite a lot. Ice, because there you can constantly freeze bosses, and the new overpower thing they've added, the heal rune. The heal rune I've said in my last video is good for the game though, but it does need nerfing. Those 4 things, this build doesn't abuse any of those. It's very simple to kind of get working, and I'll kind of talk through the key things you need, which you can get really quickly. You buy these claws from Ilaria, and they're level 2. So get Ilaria to level 2. Yeah? Is it Ilaria? I think I got her name right. Yeah. You're just over the bridge from Eleanor. Now if you get those claws at level 2, these come with Drive Break on, which is really important. So Drive Break is this move which sometimes can miss if you don't get it right, but it's really cheap, it hits really well. Now remember that, because this is a really important rune to make this work. Blink is nice for certain modifiers in Pestilence which take your stamina. You need that blink just to be able to not use your dodge roll and stamina. Really nice, that's kind of mainly where I use it. And damage surge obviously. You can run something else if you want to, but this is a physical damage build, and I'll talk why in a bit. So don't worry about the runes and stuff right now, but the main thing you need is buy these claws, put a lifesteal gem on, and you're ready to go. The other stuff, try and get it over time using embers. Then what you want is 2 blues in these slots. The reason you want that is because you want 12 bonus poise. So poise gems in both, and poise on both pieces. You can't get poise on purples, so bear that in mind. Now, you don't have to do this, but I think it's the best thing to do. Boosting poise on this means you can constantly face tank enemies, which allows you just to keep hitting and keep getting your life back. Now, why is that really important? 10% lifesteal isn't probably enough by itself to make this work, so that's why I run this ring. So Regainable health is the orange bar you see. That gives you an opportunity to get your health back after you've been hit. So when you combine lifesteal with this, and the gem here, which is a boosted gem on the gloves, it's the only gem I've got with Regainable health. That gives the build what it needs. So I've now got 65% Regainable health, I've got 10% lifesteal, I've got really good poise, so I can keep spamming in front of enemies like this, getting all this health back. If I get hit, I just get it back, keep getting it back. But if I get hit by something really heavy, you'll see my health at the top. Sometimes I'll lose like from here to here and it's orange. And if you're not at full health, and let's say my health is around about here. If I lose, say down to here, and this turns orange, that means that's regainable. Not only that, but the lifesteal stacks on top of it. So when I use Drive Break, because it hits really hard, I get all of that back. So in one of these attacks, I get all the life back and the lifesteal from Drive Break. So I can sometimes jump from like here up to like here in one hit. That's how this build works, because it needs a bit of everything, you know? But when I use Drive Break, that's my heal. This is my way to heal. Not the heal rune, because I think that's going to get nerfed. So that's the core foundation of the build. To get this working, you just need these claws, lifesteal gem, 2 blues with 12 poise bonus, 20% armor on both as well to give you armor bonus because you're going to get hit quite a bit. Healing, focus, max on here as well, and regainable health here and here. That is kind of all that you need. This ring as well, sorry. You do need this ring as well. The reason you need this ring is, with claws, there's something that no other weapon has, even daggers. When I press, so you look at the cost here, 14 stamina cost per attack. So when I do 2 presses, that uses 28 stamina. Yeah, so 1, 2. But did you notice how many attacks I do there? I do 7 attacks in that 2 presses. So you see, sometimes I go around just doing this. Generate stamina. Now why does that generate stamina? If I'm spending 28 stamina, yeah, I'm getting 6% of my stamina back every hit. And I'm doing 7 hits. So that is 7 times 6, which I think is what, 49 is it? 42? It's 42. So I get 42% stamina back by doing 2 attacks. Now, if this costs 28 stamina to do, my max stamina is 91. That's around about a third. So it's about 33% of my stamina to do this combo. Yeah, I'm getting 41% back. So when I'm low on stamina, this is what I always do. So let's just get my stamina down low a sec. So when I'm around about here on stamina to around about 1/4 on here, I'll start doing this attack just to generate stamina. But you can do the full combo as well. The full combo is really good. So the full combo looks like this. With a heavy attack at the end, which is really good for lifesteal. But that won't generate as much stamina back for you. And focus as well. So for focus and stamina regen, I do this early on. If you do the third attack by mistake, not the end of the world because you do 3 attacks in that. So 1, 2, 3. You could do that. The only problem with the third one is there's a big delay at the end of it. So you're kind of locked in for quite a while. So this is really safe because you can do this. Just make sure you give a bit of a gap. You don't, well, I mean, you ideally want to do the second one. Wait a bit. It takes a bit, I can't really do it as well now. When I'm in fights, I'm better at doing it, but yeah, it takes a bit getting used to. But if you do the third attack by mistake, just wait and dodge roll out, and then go again. And you'll never run out of stamina. The only time I use the full range is on single target. So if you've got one enemy, use that last attack because it hits really hard, and you get a lot of lifesteal back from it because it hits so hard. So it's good for single targets, not groups so much. The rest of it is preference, I think. You know, I think I run. Actually, I think the 45% healing I run here. So I've got 15% here, 15% here, 15% here, 20% on the chest. So that's 65% healing. I think you need to run that just to get as much lifesteal as possible. Outside of that, you can do what you like. Physical damage on the gloves. Why is this a physical damage boost? Why not use the elements? The elements have all these bonuses. Well, if you're running 2 blues, you're not going to get elemental boosts on the chest, so you might as well run physical. And it allows you to run max focus. And also, physical damage doesn't have any drop off on enemies. Whereas plague damage, most of the enemies have resistance to plague damage. You do half damage with plague damage. So the last build I did, you know, if it was physical, I'd be doing twice the damage, but because it's a stagger build, I used plague for that because it works better for staggering. But physical is really good to run here. On chests, you're not going to get any of the 50% burn damage, the stagger boost, the ice boost, all that sort of stuff. And you can run the physical here, and it frees up the slot here for the max focus. So I think that is better to run. Only in the situation where you're running 2 blues here, though. Outside of that, I think elements are better because you get more bonuses on the chest, which are really useful to spec into. But you know, you've got to kind of weigh up. If you start running elements, then you're gonna lose out on other things. So you're gonna lose out on the max focus, the armor. This is about surviving this build. So surviving, it's not crazy damage, but it's really good survivability, good lifesteal. But I like it because you can just face tank constantly, and I really enjoy that aspect. There's a fine line though, you know, if you face tank too much against too many enemies, you will get killed. So you've got to somewhat think about it. It's not a brain dead build, which is what I like. You're rewarded for being aggressive at the right times. If you're really aggressive on this, if you're struggling, you're thinking, God, I'm struggling with these 3 or 4 enemies, try and be a bit more aggressive and it will start working a lot of the time. Because if you keep up the attacks, you will sustain your health. Time your rune attacks at the right time, try not to spam them, use them as heals, and you can just glide through enemies like really, really well, as you'll see in the footage I've got before this. Yeah, it's really, really strong. Use overall speed, you can change that if you want to, but makes it feel nice. Nice to have the extra move speed and just to get into fights quicker animations. Is always really helpful. And yeah, outside of that, damage taken reduced on 2, I think is really handy to have just to be really tanky. And yeah, I've gone for indestructible, unrepairable, so I don't get any drop off on the stats as well. Stamina recovery is not as important on this build because of the ring I explained earlier and the way it works. You don't need it so much. And I just use this bow. If there's enemies bugged on top of rooftops, I use this bow. I use this full dex just like this does. So if I use this charged bow attack, this hits really hard actually. So if I ever need it, something's bugged on something, that's why I run it. But these stats do not apply. I've had some people ask me that why do I run a bow with these items that have two slots taken up. Well, you don't get any of the stats on the bow, but if you switch to it, then you can use the bow attacks for range stuff, right? So, handy to have. Stats. Health is pretty good, I think around 250. You don't need any more than that. Stamina 90 is pretty good as well. Because 6% of 90 is what? It's 5.5, something like that, is it? So 5.5 back every attack is really, really strong. And yeah, pretty much don't really need a lot of focus. Get to 150 because damage surge is 100, dry break is 50. I feel like it makes sense to have 150 there because you know, if you don't have a way of generating focus before a fight and you've got 150 focus, you can do damage surge just going in, and you've got at least one drive break, which is technically a heal. I just use it as a heal. So, try not to go below here. If you end up on 0 focus and your health is down here, you're going to have a tough time. You're going to need to use a heal. You're going to have to use the cheat code heal, or you're going to have to use a food heal. So what I try to do is always make sure that I never go below this. I always keep this as like a safeguard. If I get down to low health, then I use this to heal to get back up again. That's how I play this, and you'll find that the only time you'll really die is the Echo Knight, off gravity, or something where you get surrounded and pinned in a corner, which is avoidable on pretty much every class, really. Unavoidable, sorry. So you don't need crazy amounts of focus on this. It's not a focus build, but you do need 3 heals. So this gives you enough for 3 heals in a fight. And then only use the first 2 throughout a fight. Never use the last heal unless you're in a dire situation. And yeah, 63% armor. Crazy. For this move speed on medium roll, crazy amounts of armor. Really good plague resist, which is the only one that matters in the game right now because everything's plague. Heat is the second most important one, but again, I don't really have any issues. You're super tanky with this. Because of the fact you've got 40% armor and then 12% here. You don't have to go as tanky as me, so you can take the armor out of this if you wanted to. But these two here, I think, don't change these. They're so strong. You get an extra 5% healing, extra 8% on the armors here over this gem here, so these are really valuable. And 32 poise is a lot of poise. You will tank so many attacks with this compared to what you usually will. You'll be very surprised. Once you get over 30, you're basically classed as like a heavy running tank with 30 plus poise. The only things you can't tank are heavy attacks from enemies, so the ones where they dive at you, the ones where they're sick on you and it knocks you over. The heavy attacks from enemies you can't, but medium attacks you'll just be sat there taking them, and you'll just be like doing this in the face, like, yeah, sure, no problem. Generating your health back and getting that focus while they're trying to hit you, which is really, really good. And that's how it all works, really. So, key things, this is a really good build for full launch if nothing changes, because level 2, buy this off the vendor, put in a lifesteal gem as soon as you get one, get 2 blue pieces, mesh, and put poise gems into both of these. Hopefully get 2 or above on both of them. That'd be really good early on. Try and roll poise on as soon as you can as well. If you get armor, that's a bonus as well. But if you can get like, so right now I've got 12. If you can get to like 8 poise on these early on with these gloves with a lifesteal gem and somehow get this ring, or just put like Regainable Health in here, you've got something that for leveling will be amazing. It'll be amazing for leveling. And then by the time you get to endgame, you'll have enough embers to get this going really quickly. Because all you really need is I would say all you need is, you can get 10 plus poise from this, get 15% here, 30% here, so you get to around about 50% regainable health, 28 plus poise if you get that, 10% lifesteal. This ring, that is not that hard to get, I don't think. This ring's quite rare sometimes, to be fair. So you could run another regainable health here. So you could run one here and here until you get this ring. So you get 40% regainable health. Trust me, you'll thank me if you run this build early on. Because this build, once you get it going, will be able to do everything in the game. better than most builds because once everything gets patched, which I'm hoping it does. So if you remove focus spam attacks from the legendary rings, the healing rune, ice being so overpowered with freezing constantly, and stagger, this build moves to S tier, like one of the strongest ways to build. Super tanky, really good survivability. Not out of this world damage, but really good damage, like really good sustained damage. And that's why I don't think anything in this build is going to get patched too much. I don't think it's broken. You do have to play smart. I sometimes do die if I don't play smart and I'm just talking to chat, or I'm just like daydreaming. I will die, you know? You've got to play the game. And that's how I want this game to be. I hope this is how builds are going to be in the future on full release, where you have to actually dodge roll, you have to actually think about the enemy attacks. And with those 4 broken areas, if you abuse any of those areas, you don't need to worry about anything really. And I hope that all 4 of those get patched in a way that makes them reasonable. But I did go through quite a bit there because I think this is really important for newer players, and this is going to be a really good build for newer players to get going because it doesn't take a lot of resource to get working. You know, like I said, the poise, regainable health, lifesteal, and these claws. That's all you need. The rest of it, just copy over time. I think you'll be there. This is, again, not essential, but really nice endgame. I don't think I've missed anything. I really wanted to go into depth on this one because I do think it's an important build to discuss for people. And I think this could be a really good foundation for a lot of builds moving forward. 2 blue pieces, massively underrated. Because this armor is very, very noticeable. It's really, really nice. You do have to invest a bit into equip load because I've got 2 mesh pieces and leather and then a plate gloves. So you're not the lightest. But this is worth it. It's a lot to invest, but it's worth it. I'm going to do some more builds. Redoing my old build videos over the next few weeks. I'm going to try and do 1 build video a week. Once I've done the next 3 or 4 builds, I'm going to do some videos on ideas for the game. In terms of like going to specific areas like items, maps, content, endgame, PvP over the next few weeks after that. But yeah, going to leave that on there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next build video.